Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Dark destinations.
These may be end times, night creature. Why would a few more casualties trouble me?
Because their blood will join yours.
A radio drama anthology.
You are wrong.
How you figure? Every merc on Mongo is hunting you down.
Not you. Your partner. He said I didn't have a ray gun.
Full cast performances set in the haunted corners of the globe.
Darkness is coming for you.
That's the fear that haunts me.
Dark Destinations by Father Malone at weirdingwaymedia.com.
Weirding Way Media.
Now check this one if you will. Tonight we offer you the sour fruit of a scientist's failure. For there are apparently some things that can't be accomplished. And therein lies the tale and hangs the picture. In this, the Night Gallery.
Welcome back, art lovers, to Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, where we discuss Night Gallery, Rod Serling's follow-up to The Twilight Zone. I'm Father Malone, and with me here in the gallery are the projection booth's Mike White.
Ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Also joining us is the Culture Cast, Chris Stachiw.
Ladies and gentlemen, join us this evening, if you will, for yet another disappointing tale of The Night Gallery.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about 2 episodes from Season 3. Those are episodes 9 and 10. She'll Be Company for You, and The Ring with the Red Velvet Ropes.
Now, this canvas here, dark hallway, door slightly ajar, a rather disquieting red room at the end of the hall, and a very large cat. We suggest to you that while felines may look cute and cuddly and playfully mischievous, our suggestion is that you feed them a bit of milk and get rid of them, because cats are and always have been Satan's familiars. Our painting title is She'll Be Company for You, and it's hung in this place we call...
She'll Be Company for You is Season 3, Episode 9. It aired December the 24th, 1972. Merry Christmas, Mr. Serling. This one was written by David Raphael, based on a short story by Andrea Newman, and directed by Gerald Perry Finnerman, who is Night Gallery's resident director of photography. This one stars Leonard Nimoy, Lorraine Gary, Anne Turbin, and Catherine Hayes. It's the tale of a widower who must be punished for no longer caring for his betrothed upon her death after a lengthy and painful illness. What do you think of this one, Mike?
Well, you know, there's some rules in screenwriting. Show, don't tell. But rather than show, what about hear? How about we just use sound effects to tell our story, shall we? Sounds good.
Oh, boom.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Leonard Nimoy freaking out worse than he did when he was undergoing Pon Farr. He's really going for it. And I did not recognize Lorraine Gary. I don't know if it was the turban, but I was just like, this does not look like Mrs. Brody at all. She was smoking hot. No wonder that exec at Universal married her. She was just a real hot and spicy number in this episode.
Yeah. I agree with Mike. She'll be company for you around the mountain when she comes. Might as well have been the second part of the fucking horseshit title. I'm glad that Leonard Nimoy, I almost called him Leonard Nimoy. I'm glad Leonard Nimoy is in this episode, but I will say, okay, I really, I failed to see how this is any different than some of the other things that we've seen in this show already. And the ending, to say the ending is unintelligible might be being nice. I found it to just be, I don't know, after a while pedantic. And yes, it's funny to see Leonard Nimoy freak out with the knife. And I think that is definitely the most entertaining part of the episode, is Leonard Nimoy just going off. But what is with these widowers who are feeling consumed by guilt stories? Stop telling them. Why? I don't even understand what the problem is here. He's feeling bad. Why? It's just the morality of the story is also very strange to me, frankly. Father Malone, you've been nodding your head yes, and I'm wondering where you come down on this one.
First of all, any chance to see Leonard Nimoy not as Spock in a dramatic role, I jump at the chance, and he does not disappoint here. But to the point of the thrust of the story, as a recent widower, I can tell you for half of this episode, I thought what we were getting was a metaphor for grief as jungle cat, which I gotta say, it actually feels that way. The more you push it off and not confront it, it gets more and more dangerous. And I thought, wow, this is a corker of a tale, but that's actually not. What this is a tale of is this neglectful, horrible husband who needs to be murdered by his wife's best friend because he treated her so poorly and was glad she's gone. Ultimately, when the story plays out, what it is he's been taking care of his invalid wife for an untold number of years, long enough that it's commented on over and over again. And he has had an affair with his secretary during that time, which apparently meant nothing to her and didn't really mean anything to him either. And now it's however long later, and the wife dies, and her best friend is dead set on punishing him without knowing anything about anything. All her confrontation is about, you wanted her dead. Either he was a fucking horrible person and deserves to be clawed to death or not. Now, as to the sound in this episode, now you guys know me. I have been a champion of sound here on 19.
I'm waiting for this the whole time I was watching this episode. You have to know this.
There are so many sound effects in here. It's wild. Even while he's there at the funeral, right before she goes into the ground, he has a little audio play that goes on his head, and there's like a laugh track that happens in there. It's just like, my God, there's so many sounds. I can't wait to hear what Father Malone picks out.
Well, okay. Now, the main one I want to mention is, putting aside the fact that what begins as an orange tabby that then transforms into a jaguar and then transforms into a Bengal tiger, the main sound effect for each of those cats is a mountain lion. And then, on top of that, sound engineer went fucking cuckoo with the sounds. Every jungle track in it, and not skillfully laid out, but rather all on top of each other at the same time. Oh, special appearance by the kookaburra from Australia once again.
Thank you.
Yes, I was so happy when I heard that.
His backyard is a jungle. It's a jungle out there. Great. But why? But because what? You didn't have enough fucking things for Leonard Nimoy to do, so you just have to make it busy? Yeah, the jungle sounds were hilarious because they didn't make any sense, but hey, you got a Bengal tiger in your backyard, so yeah, you got kookaburras and lions and tigers. Surprised there wasn't an elephant noise. It reminded me of Freaked, when they're driving through the forest and all of a sudden there's just noises in the background. But that was played for laughs. This is not.
Or Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he's driving down the dark road. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
Brian Epstein would call this a wall of sound. I would call it shit, a wall of shit. It's just so much, too much all at once.
They weren't going for laughs, but I sure was laughing. What I wasn't laughing about is continuing the trend on sound here. Eddie Sauter has taken over the musical duties here on Night Gallery season 3. Now, we've already mentioned in the opening episode of this season how dreadful the new theme is. It's fucking horrible. I skip the credits every time now. It is so jarring and off-putting.
I let it play. I let it play every time to remind me that somebody changed it and made a conscious effort to change it because they wanted me to hear it. So I applaud you for making the right choice. I've made the wrong one.
You're just far more a masochist than I. Now, Eddie Sauter is a detriment to the show across the board. In this episode, I finally touched on what it is, that before our composers, and there were several, were scoring the episode that they were given, or they gave enough tracks that were interesting pieces of music in totality. What Eddie Sauter does is make beds, which are just going up and down the scales of a particular instrument in a particular key. And then you can just lay it in the background of everything. And they do so very clumsily. It's all harpsichord beds in this episode. Doesn't make any sense at all, but there it is. I don't know that he wrote one piece of music for any of the episodes. It feels like he just laid out a bunch of stuff and went, here, do with it what you will. Leonard Nimoy must have been a menace to both props and the greens person on this episode. An item he slams shatters into a million pieces, and then watch out if you're a cabinet, because Leonard Nimoy has a knife the size of Toledo. His set isn't safe. It was my favorite part. Just we've mentioned the rampaging out in the green, which watching Leonard Nimoy slashing down giant plants in his backyard is just. I'll recommend this episode just for that.
I will say the budget alone for those plants, like those have got to be real plants. And he's just, he fucks them up. I don't know. That's the only redeeming part of this. And you know what? I think it hurts, obviously. Mike White and I, we do a Columbo podcast. And we just saw Leonard Nimoy in an episode of Columbo being amazing. So it's not surprising that he's good here. But it's like this is the wrong place to be setting up shop, dude. This is season 3, last half of the season of Night Gallery. This is like that fish that's just gasping for air. It's just, I don't understand where all the originality went in this show. This feels just like the episode where, oh my God, there's a guy and he's doing this exact same thing. I forget exactly which episode it is. It's in the 2nd season of Night Gallery. And it has the same feel of, it's the thing with the spiders and Jack Cassidy, where the spider just keeps getting bigger. And it's like, to what? Why? And this is the same thing, like the cat's just getting bigger. Okay, make Leonard Nimoy a big dickhead. Then he deserves it. But he's just, I can't get a beat on this. Just cast John Astin in this role. Then he deserves it. We've already seen John Astin play like a dickhead husband several times on this show now. Do that. It's very strange casting too, because Leonard Nimoy is kind of likable too, just because he's Leonard Nimoy. It's hard to dislike him.
The only thing I can figure is that he comes back in 2 episodes to direct. So maybe it was a deal. You act in this episode, you get to direct this other episode, because I'm not sure how much he had directed at this point. Of course, he would go on to direct so many things later on in his career, and he could have really transitioned to be a full-time director, but he dabbled in both towards the end of his life.
You touched on exactly what happened, Mike. He starred in this so he could direct an episode which will be his directorial debut, the first time he ever did anything.
Just think what it would lead to. So many good things, like Holy Matrimony.
Star Trek 4.
2 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. 3 Men and a Little Lady. Yeah.
He did one with Gene Wilder, too, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
I believe he did.
Sperm Bank comedy?
Yes, exactly. Here's some things I liked about the episode. I loved his collar in the opening scene. It was the widest collar I've ever seen. They were basically epaulets. And he's in his house. Every room is different color. It's a wash and peach and yellow, and the invalid room is blue. Also in the yellow room, There is the most horrifying thing in the entire episode, which is this life-size yellow ceramic dog, just as a decoration in the room. It's really terrifying. Actually, the other thing I really liked about it, Lorraine Gary, the scene where she's interrogating him, basically, they choose to give us Nimoy's point of view. So she's looking directly into the camera, and it's incredibly unnerving. Not only is she a bit of a smoke show, she's a powerhouse in this episode. Like, I'm sad she's only known as Mrs. Brody and wasn't cast for other things. I only know her from like 1941, the Jaws movies, and now this, and that's a shame.
Yeah, I thought she did a really good job. And she's menacing while being seductive. I'm surprised they didn't go for Julie Newmar in a role like this. I think it would have been a little too on the nose with her giving this killer cat, but hey, she has that look as far as the eyes and the way that her makeup is being done, kind of the cat eyes that Julie Newmar would wear as Catwoman. But yeah, I thought she did a really fine job with this.
And if you notice in the opening scene at the funeral, Nimoy's sunglasses are cat's eye. Those are ladies' sunglasses because they do go up into the cat shape. So that was a nice bit of foreshadowing as well. Those are the good things. Everything else, oh boy.
But the bell didn't have a thing in it.
How could he be hearing that bell all the time?
Can we talk about what happened in the ending?
We can talk about it. We won't figure it out.
Did he kill himself? Did he think what I figured was going to happen is he thought the cat was attacking him, and he did one of those, I'm covered in spiders and I'm on meth. Get him off of me, and started stabbing himself with a knife. But that probably doesn't make any sense. But does anything make any sense if the cat kills him either?
The thing is, it could have been ambiguous. It could have been we cut to the room and he's a bloody mess and we don't know if he killed himself or a cat killed him, and the orange tabby is licking the blood. But right before that, we get a shot of the door with 2 gigantic claw marks in it.
It's as incomprehensible as that Jack Cassidy spider episode in terms of the ending.
Patrick O'Neill, by the way. Jack Cassidy.
Oh, I thought
Jack Cassidy left his body and then went, oh, I killed myself.
Right. Okay, I got you. He was the astral projector, yeah.
I, for whatever reason, just imagine Jack Cassidy interacting with that spider.
It would have been lively. Oh, Patrick O'Neill was great in that. The problem was the spider.
But I mean, it's just as incomprehensible because again, I don't understand the stakes here. I really have a hard time understanding how this cat. Again, it should have been ambiguous because then you can get away with most of these things. But what is going on with the cat? I don't understand. But yeah, oh my God. Mrs. Brody's turban is the best part of this episode. And that giant lion necklace piece that she has is fantastic.
I noted that porcelain dog as well. It kind of reminded me, and hopefully, Father Malone, you're old enough to get this reference. It reminded me of when you only had $40 left on Wheel of Fortune and you had to use up all your money so you'd buy the Dalmatian. And it was just the ugliest porcelain Dalmatian ever. And then you could either take the rest on certificate or account.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And the ceramic dog. And the rest of the money, the gift certificate, the service merchandise.
Right. Can I say, though, if I found like a ceramic dog at Goodwill for like $20, that son of a bitch is in my back seat coming home.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't own that immediately.
Oh, no. I'm sure I was making sure we're all on the same page.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And the lamps in the living room, the lampshades are exactly the same lampshades as the lamps when I was growing up in my folks' house. So yeah, the color scheme wasn't the same, thank God. But yeah, very familiar furnishings in this episode.
I appreciated that this felt like a different place altogether. We weren't in that same goddamn house with that same goddamn staircase again. And if you've been listening to our show, you know what I'm talking about. That same stairwell keeps showing up, and it wasn't here, so I'm glad.
I wonder if we're going to see it again real soon.
I hope not.
This item here, commentative on what A.J. Liebling referred to as the sweet science. Obviously having something to do with the manly art of self-defense, boxing. But if the Marquis of Queensberry mayhem doesn't particularly turn you on, don't turn this off. This painting tells a story infinitely more intriguing than a couple of fast boys mixing it up. It's called The Ring with the Red Velvet Ropes, and it tells you the tale of precisely who is the real heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And I think you'll be surprised. Surprise happens to be our stock in trade, because this is the Night Gallery.
All right, Ring with the Red Velvet Ropes. It is Season 3, Episode 10. Originally aired on January the 7th, 1973. This one was written by Robert Malcolm Young from a short story by Edward D. Hawke and directed by Jean Zwark. This one stars Gary Lockwood, Chuck Connors, Joan Van Ark, and Ralph Manza playing Gary Lockwood's manager in the opening scene. For once, he's not playing a chauffeur. He is Banachek's major domo in the entirety of that series. And every other time I've seen him pop up on a show, he's played a chauffeur.
You're not watching enough Barney Miller, baby. He plays a blind guy most of the time. Or someone who doesn't understand a lick of English. Or my favorite Ralph Manza role, 1999's fisherman running away from Godzilla on the pier, which is my favorite Ralph Manza.
Now I'm going to have to look that up. Jeez.
That's from the trailer where like Godzilla's coming through the water. Yeah. The person who's fishing is Ralph Manza.
No.
Yeah, there's like an older guy fishing at the end of the pier. That's Ralph Manza.
Wow.
You're welcome, world. And Ralph Manza, who I think long passed away.
This one is about a boxing champ who learns he's not the champ. Maybe supernatural, could be. I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I like this idea, but we've seen it better when we did Dreams for Sale. We did that pool episode. Or was this? No, it was this show. Oh, we've done it every time we've done an anthology show. There's one of these kinds of things where it's you're fighting the opportunity. Most of the time, the setup makes more sense. The setup here doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Normally, it's you're dead and you're going to face the person and you get something out of it, or you're alive and you're facing the person and you end up being damned because of it. I like the setup, but boy, it's like they jumped from the ground onto the pommel horse and then broke their back immediately. I just do not understand how they fucked up what is, again, in my opinion, an easy concept. The ex-champion is facing the current people, but he's dead. Or I don't even know. They don't even seem to know here. So it's rather unintelligible, but it's at least, again, an idea that I can understand where they were going with this, but they really fucked it up.
I think you're thinking of Game of Pool over on Twilight Zone. It's the same setup. I'm the champ. I call the spectral champ to come play me in a game of pool. Anyway, Mike, what'd you think?
Good makeup effects. I really like the effects on these guys' faces when they get the shit kicked out of them. That's pretty good, especially the African American gentleman who visits him as a specter after he beats him at boxing. But yeah,
J2 Kambuka.
Yes, and I did watch an interview with him earlier today, which was very interesting. Yeah, he was been in a bunch of stuff that I really like, and it was great seeing him show up, but he was in here for so short. And then Gary Lockwood, I'm pretty unfamiliar with him other than I want to say he was in a Jacques Demy film, of course, 2001: A Space Odyssey. He looks so shaggy here. It's kind of wild. He almost was unrecognizable because I'm used to seeing him with the tighter haircut. Chuck Connors, always amazing, but yeah, I also don't really understand everything that's going on. I'm so surprised that Rod didn't write this screenplay because I know he likes boxing. So it reminded me too of, what was that called? Was it The Way of the Gun or The Day of the Gun, the Star Trek episode where they ran out of money, so they were using like big like colors behind them and things. That's very similar to this boxing ring at the end.
I actually expected Frank Drebin to walk in at the beginning of the episode because it looked like that same boxing set from one of those Police Squad episodes.
No sex before the fight. Yeah.
That was Universal too as well. So there's a distinct possibility that could be the case. But we kind of mentioned it on the last episode. I want to mention it here. The set design, we commented every now and then, but not often. Set design in these two episodes is fantastic. Like, genuinely feels like they went out of their way to do something different. Story doesn't live up, though.
Oh, I disagree. I fucking loved this one.
I feel that it would have been really good if it was a lot shorter. I think half an hour was way too much for this. I like the idea of, I guess it's the very first, it feels like the very first champ is still kind of boxing. It feels like after Gary Lockwood after somebody else becomes the champ, Gary Lockwood's going to have to face him and then he'll die in the ring or something. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. So, Father Malone, since you do like this one a little bit more than us, what is going on with that?
Okay, it is exactly that. It's now, he's no longer, he's some supernatural being at this point who has to be the champ, and he will be the champ until he loses, and then he will die because he will have aged however long. So it's not necessarily that he was beaten, Chuck Connors was beaten to death, it was that he was beaten. They could have been a little bit more clear, certainly, about what was actually happening here at the end. Nevertheless, there was a lot that I liked about it. I liked the teleportation shower he got into with the steam. Oh my God. And then when he stepped out for a moment, I was like, wait, is this a time travel episode? It was like a throwback, or is he changed bodies with somebody?
He's in for say is what it looks like. It's strange and unexplained. Literally never explained.
I thought he was going to visit Dave Bowman in the end of 2001.
Lockwood, I agree. I don't think I've seen him this shaggy, but I liked it, and I liked him here. I thought he was really great. I thought he was so good because when he finds himself suddenly trapped in this mansion and he knows he can't get out, he gets rather bemused by the whole thing. Whereas I think any one of us would have started punching everybody out and trying to knock down doors. And I believed it. I think he carried that off. I like that this season we've had a lot of, we're waiting for characters to arrive. Roderick is coming. Remember they had that kid with the horrible haircut coming to kill Ross Martin, like he's on his way.
Oh yeah.
And then the sorcerer, the same thing. I hear my brother is coming. This is a year for, watch out. I love that crazy eye light Chuck Connors gets right before we go out to that weirdo room. Was that a room where the statue is with the ring of fire on the ground? And speaking of rings of fire, why didn't they box in a ring of fire? But anyway, back to the other thing. Was that an outside area or was that in the house?
Yeah, when that ring of fire started, I was like, ooh, this is the boxing ring. Oh, cool. That'll be awesome. No,
unfortunately.
Sad.
Where they box is pretty good though. That red.
It is
room.
true. I do like that.
There's a great shot of like Chuck Connors staring down, and he just looks proper fucking menacing. I mean, having spent a fair amount of time watching that werewolf TV show that featured Chuck Connors, where he has to be menacing for like the 2 episodes he's in, but then his body doubles in the rest. He's great. I loved him here. Not sure if I believe Gary Lockwood could actually beat a big dude like Chuck Connors. Looks gigantic next to Gary Lockwood. He's fucking gigantic as a human being, obviously, but Gary Lockwood, obviously, the disparity in height between the two is apparent when you kind of get those wide shots of the ring.
Well, you see him standing next to Joan Van Ark when he walks into the scene. He's like twice her size. She's like at his waist. I was like, Gary Lockwood is dead.
I don't know, but I do like how his makeup starts out really good, and then he starts looking more and more Neanderthal as the match goes on. He gets a little Neanderthal-y at the end, a little too much on the upper brow. I like the idea of the story. I wish I understood the stakes.
Yeah, the thing is, I love the setup where he sees a ghost and it's because that person has just died in another location and they're appearing to them. That's such a great setup. And when Kumbuka appears, and it's really accusatory. It seems like the champ has been up to no good or something. And like, I know from beyond the grave what you've done. In fact, it was a warning.
Which is what I don't get. And did he have a fucking aneurysm in the shower and die? And that's what's going on here. It's just, I would like just a little clarification as to why this is happening, other than the fact that does everybody who becomes the champion have to go fight this guy?
So then there's this moral conundrum. You are the champ, right? Nobody can beat you. The only way you can continue to live is to throw a fight and then go on living a lie that you're the champ. Meanwhile, the guy you're fighting probably can't beat you. It's actually a really great setup.
I'd be curious to read the short story for this one.
Yeah, I did not, but yeah, it bears investigating. Red velvet ropes, red velvet ring, red velvet everything there in the last scene. My God, even Chuck Connors is red velvet draped, it seems. Good stuff. I like the warped bell for the round changes, the sort of slightly off-kilter bell. There is one fucking spectacular transition. Jean Zwark, I love you, where It's Chuck Connor's training and he's boxing and it's just his silhouette and the whole thing washes out red and then we zoom in on the speed bag silhouette and then now we're into the actual match at the end. I loved that. Anything else that I loved? I don't know. I just really enjoyed this one. I know it wasn't enough explanation as to what was going on, but for this one I was able to fill in enough myself where it didn't feel like it was a cheat.
I understand that. I genuinely it wasn't explanation as much as I think the episode needed a clearer direction of where it was going. Because at the end, yes, I understand the conundrum that he's in, but does he?
Right.
Yeah, there needs to be that conversation, maybe.
Right. Like, do you understand what's about to happen here, dude? Like,
well, no, because he's such a bulldog. He's just like, I've never thrown a fight. I don't care. I'm just going to go in and box that guy. And then he does, and he wins, and he doesn't seem that upset about it, honestly.
Yeah, no, and I don't. Are we supposed to root against his character? That's what I didn't understand. Like,
we're rooting for him to win, and he does, but it comes with a price.
When he's yelling at the guys, like, why didn't you stop the fight? Why didn't you stop the fight? And I'm like, you could have stopped beating up on the guy too.
Yeah, you're not absolvable here.
I love the wait staff as audience. The central casting, here's the chef, here's the chauffeur, here's the maid. They're all just watching the match. What's their story? How are they so condemned to eternity that they have to wait on the fake champ?
Yeah, I'd love to know more of this stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on here that just is not, again, it's not that it's not explained. It's not even hinted at what's going on. Once he transitions from the shower to the villa or whatever it is, it's like he just goes from a real place to a set is what it feels like. He's removed from everything and it feels like unreality and they never explain what it is. So I have no fucking clue where anything takes place beyond the beginning of the episode.
He has a lot of conversations with Joan Van Ark, and one of them might have been, what is this place?
Right.
That would be a first fucking question. Like, why can't I use the phone? Why can't I leave? Are people looking for me? Did I just that's the other question. If all these champions are going and fighting this guy, are these champions just must be disappearing? Like, it's a strange setup. I do like the guy that they got to play dead old Chuck Connors, though. Slam that fucker with some pancake makeup. Let's go. He's a white.
That was another man, right? That was not Chuck Connors himself. That was.
No, I would assume it was someone else entirely.
Yeah, I think he would have gone back to Jack Johnson days or something. The Marquis of Queensberry or whatever that is.
And you can tell it's not written by Rod because it doesn't have some sort of like tongue clucking morality horse shit that he likes to do. He would have had that scene where he's like, oh, you should know better. You don't do it. You know better. There's none of that. So it's not written by Rod Serling.
That's the price you get with the over explanation. Rod also would have told you exactly what that place was.
Right.
What everyone's motivations were, but it comes with everything else. All right, we're going to play a preview of our next episode, and we'll be right back to wrap things up.
Now, this painting, for example, Stairway Inspector, Cobwebs and Darkness, it's called Something in the Woodwork. It tells of what one might look for when purchasing a house, because that creak you hear in the dead of night is not always an errant rafter. Sometimes if you walk up those attic steps, you'll find yourself face to face with the very thing that goes thump in the night. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Night Gallery. We offer you both tricks and treats in this special realm where the national dish is pumpkin, national flower is wolfbane, and our national anthem is the Funeral March, which should give you some definitive idea as to the nature of this place. We show paintings like this one in a color scheme of blood-red sky with corpse-white moon. This, we tell you up front, is a story of vampires. And, of course, this must conjure up images of Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee, somewhat frigid, malevolent, monstrous creatures. But reserve such all-conclusive judgment of the living dead until you hear the story of a particular vampire, the kind you might find in a place like this, the Night Gallery.
That's right. In the next midnight viewing, we'll be taking a look at Season 3, Episodes 11 and 12, Something in the Woodwork, and Death on a Barge. Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast, is a proud member of Weirding Way Media Group, and the theme song was composed by HP. Until next time, what are you working on? Where can people find it, Mike White?
You can always find me over at weirdingwaymedia.com or at projectionboothpodcast.com.
About you, Chris Stachiw?
You can find me and everything I work on at weirdingawaymedia.com, along with a whole host of other things. 80s TV Ladies, Dreams for Sale, the Kolchak tapes. We've mentioned some of these things before. I'll mention them again because that's part of this. So yeah, weirdingawaymedia.com. That's where you can go to find all the things that the three of us work on and a whole host of other people that we call not just friends, but podcasters.
It's a trifecta. Go to weirdingawaymedia.com, everyone. Thank you all for joining us here at Midnight Viewing. The gallery is now closed.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.